All right, what's going on, gang? So today we're going to be talking about a little bit more spicy topic than I've ever talked about on my YouTube channel. I've talked about this quite a bit on Twitter. If you guys follow me on Twitter, then you understand the thumbnail and you understand what I'm getting into from this, but we're going to get into it. All right, so without trying to beat around the bush too much, let's talk about Israel. Let's talk about what Israel's doing. Let's talk about what their end goal here is. Because, you know, and as a lot of us are starting to realize more and more and more and more that the United States government, who controls us, who is supposed to be our protectors, who is supposed to be our, for lack of a better phrase, providers, right? Old daddy, Uncle Sam, is now very clearly controlled by another government, is controlled by another entity. It is becoming more and more prevalent that the United States government, that the Trump administration is not controlled by, is not in power of itself. That the Trump administration is clearly controlled and has a overarching power, whether it be money, whether it be blackmail, whether it be, it doesn't matter. What I'm getting at here, and I've been seeing so many YouTubers finally talking about this. I've been seeing so many other people discussing of what is going on in Gaza, what is going on with the 8-front war. Everything that is happening, that is Israel is staging wars across the entirety of the Middle East. And so much is coming out from the past. So much is starting to surface that we had no idea about. That me and you are just like, wait, they did what? They said what? Like, and it legitimately does feel like you're waking up from the Matrix. It feels like you're in the fucking Truman Show.
Something's wrong. Change frequencies.
Ouch. Sorry about that, folks. I guess we picked up a police frequency or something.
It like all of this, and at first, once you realize, once you start to open your eyes, you're like, this feels insane. It's hard to believe that another country would kill so many people and would propagandize it so terribly. It's incredible how bad the propaganda is. It's an absolute PR nightmare. And it's like it's at a point now where, you know, they've bought out TikTok from China and they sold it to an Israeli man.
Larry Ellison is second richest guy in the world. They're buying the media. Him and his son are buying TikTok. They're buying CBS. Who does he put in charge of CBS? Bari Weiss. Bari Weiss was helped by Hazony and Brett Stevens. It's like, that very clearly is a Jewish club. And they're cutting through society. And yeah, they run in other elite circles. And yeah, they have their accomplices that are not Jewish. Even, you know, look at the Trump administration. Trump brokered that deal. He's a Gentile. But he got money from Miriam Adelson. And his grandchildren are Jewish because his son-in-law is Jewish. And it's like, it's almost like that exception doesn't prove the rule.
And that Netanyahu goes and he states that they're now doing an 8-front war and they've bought TikTok and that, or they're trying to buy TikTok. Clearly they already did, as we see now. And now the next front is Twitter.
Important purchase that is going on right now is
Followers.
TikTok. TikTok, number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential. And the other one, what's the other one that's most important?
X.
X. That's very good. And, you know, so we have to talk to Elon. He's not an enemy. He's a friend. We should talk to him. Now, if we can get those two things, we get a lot. And I could go on other things, but that's not the point right now. We have to fight the fight. Okay?
And that was the last thing said. And now I go on my Twitter feed this morning, and it's nothing but Israeli propaganda. And I'm normally on Twitter, I'm scrolling my For You page. I'm scrolling that. And in this week, it is fascinating how it's just nothing but Israeli propaganda, Israeli propaganda, Israeli propaganda, Israeli propaganda. And I'm like, where are all the pages that I normally see? Like, who are any of these accounts? I've never seen any of these accounts in my life. And you go onto these accounts and they have hundreds of thousands of followers. It's like, I don't know who the fuck this is. So my question to you, and my question to my following, or if you're new here, my question to you is, where do we go from here? Like, what is Israel's end goal here, man? Because it really feels like they're doing nothing but just trying to make us hate them so fucking badly. And if you guys have been following me on Twitter at all, you'll have seen that in the last year or so, I've really started to kind of like open my eyes. In the last, roughly about last year, I've been noticing more and more and more. And by noticing, right, I do mean of how much the American government is controlled, and how much it doesn't feel like, nothing feels the same anymore, especially from like 2019, right? Nothing feels the same. And it's fascinating that, I'm getting messages from my mother. I'm getting messages from like my normie high school friends that I haven't. Last night, I got a text from one of my high school friends that I haven't talked to in 6 years. And he's like, man, this is crazy with Israel, right? These fucking Jews, right? And I'm like, oh my God, dude. And so my question is, where do they go from here? So I believe it was Joseph Goebbels. If I'm saying that wrong, my apologies. That was a 1930s, 1940s fascist German that said that any law that states that you cannot criticize the Jew is the end of the Jew. And I might be butchering that quote. I'll throw it up on screen, but this is kind of what it feels like, and it's fascinating how much propaganda we're being thrown our way, and how much propaganda is being thrown into everyone's social medias. And like with TikTok, there's so many things that you can't talk about. You can't talk about Gaza. You can't talk about Palestinians. And you can't talk about all these things. You can't talk about the USS Liberty. Hell, I just found out about the USS Liberty like a month ago. And it was actually on YouTube. There was a guy that survived the USS Liberty, and he was saying that for 20 years, that he was told that he was not allowed to talk about it. And I'll throw that video up as well. I highly recommend going and watching that video. And after I watched that, like the first thing I did is I went over to my wife and I'm like, "Did you know about this?" And it's crazy, right? Because I mean, for years and years and years, we've all seen these like spurgs, right? These what seems like schizophrenic, insane people. And you see them in group chats, and you see them on like Telegram, and you see them on Twitter, and you'll say something about something, and then all of a sudden you see like a bunch of videos, and then you see a bunch more videos, and you see and what do? You scroll past it. You scroll past it. You ignore it. I'm not watching that shit. You're crazy. And more and more recently, I've started watching all of those videos, and how many of those videos have sources, and how many of those videos the sources have sources. And it makes you start wondering. It makes you start asking questions of, were the schizophrenics right all along? Were the conspiracy theorists right all along? Am I now a schizophrenic? Am I now a conspiracy theorist? And it's fascinating, because once upon a time, I was just another normie. Once upon a time, I was a libertarian, and I believed, gun rights for everybody, and love and peace, and everyone should have equal everything. And now I'm just like, oh God. Oh God. I was like, what? You like, am I the crazy person now? Is all of this actually happening? And the people to my left and the right, they're now viewing me as the schizophrenic. When people go onto my Twitter, when people go onto my YouTube, are they now going to view me as how I viewed, you know, these schizophrenic people, or what I would believe to be schizophrenic people, like, you know, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? And so it's, I don't know, that's the question, man. That's the question right now. With how many people are waking up, with how many people are coming to terms with like all this propaganda being shoved in your face. Can you ignore it any longer? You know, and I know for personal experience, I ignored it for years. I vividly remember saying out loud, why would the government ever do that? Why would another government ever do that? Why would anyone ever hate someone so much to do that? Well, why would anyone ever lie about World War II? What? No, no one would lie about World War II. Why would anyone lie about Vietnam? No. Whoa. Why would anyone lie about 9/11? Why would anyone lie about the Twin Towers? No, they wouldn't lie. No one's that evil. No, they would never. I remember vividly myself saying these things of, well, why would anyone lie about 9/11 and Iraq and Afghanistan? And then every single country that just somehow coincidentally, Israel is now saying that they deserve the rights to, that they were promised that land thousands of years ago. And I'm like, so when I was in the Army, the friends that I lost, the friends that died, the people that went overseas and never came back, you're telling me now that they died so that Gazans could be turned into a fucking parking lot? So that rich billionaires that are definitely not, you know, taking children and doing what they will with them. And here I am, you know, drinking literal slop, being poisoned daily. You know, and it's fascinating how much, I don't know, when you start asking questions and when you start researching things and you start asking questions and you get hate. You get so much hate from so many fucking different directions. And it's fascinating. But I don't know, I guess my question is, you know, beyond the Samson option, beyond Israel trying to nuke the entire world.
But if you don't let Israel nuke the world, then you might be an anti-Semite! And you wouldn't want to be an anti-Semite, would you?
You know, where do we go from here? What's the end goal here for Americans? You know, are we just going to become this just multicultural melting pot of just brownness?
A resurgence of anti-Semitism, because at this point in time, Europe has not yet learned how to be multicultural. And I think we're going to be part of the throes of that transformation, which must take place. Europe is not going to be the monolithic societies that they once were in the last century. Jews are going to be at the center of that. It's a huge transformation for Europe to make. They are now going into a multicultural mode, and Jews will be resented because of our leading role. But without that leading role and without that transformation, Europe will not survive.
I'm ruined. I have nothing left except Israel.
Israel just asked for another $10 billion, sir.
Tell him it's on the way.
You know, what is to come of the white race? You know, does the white race have a home anymore?
We'll just get rid of all the whites in the United States.
Do we have a future? I mean, me and myself and Homath, if you guys don't watch that YouTuber, put him up on screen as well. Highly recommend hitting up that YouTuber. I love his breakdowns, love the direction that he's going. Some great content, and hopefully I can work with him in the future. But him and I have been going back in DMs and talking about it, of how difficult it is not to black pill right now. And I acknowledge and I realize that I am some niche random, YouTuber with a small military surplus company. I do not have too much influence. I do not have too much power. But what I do have and what I can ask is, questions of, fuck, man. Are we the crazy ones? Am I insane for acknowledging these things that are happening? Am I fucking crazy for realizing what's happening? Am I crazy for acknowledging and noticing that another country's leader, president, prime minister, whatever you want to fucking call him, whatever he wants to call himself, am I insane for realizing that they're saying, that we are more or less their piggy bank, their cash cow? Am I insane for asking where are my tax dollars going and why am I paying so much in taxes? So like, am I the crazy one here? That is the question that I have to ask you guys. Is that are we crazy? Are we the bad guys for asking questions? Or are there actual things going on behind the screen? Is all of this is all a facade? Is any of this, actually substantiated? Is any of this true? I don't know. Like I said, and like I've been saying, I am nothing more than some retard that joined the military, never had a combat deployment, got out, and really wanted that brotherhood again. So I started a tribe, I started a friend group. I bought some guns, and really liked surplus, really liked gear. So I started selling it. I started my company selling, on like OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace, and then I eventually started an actual company and started selling it, and here we are. And I have a decent YouTube following, have a decent Twitter following, and I have a decent sized company, a decent sized warehouse. But I guess the question is, with this 8-front warfare, with Benjamin Netanyahu saying that that social media is the next front of warfare. Does my company have a future? Do I have a future? Does my social media presence have a future with me wanting to be a strong white man and breed more strong white children surrounded by strong white men and their families? Do I have a future? Am I allowed a future? And if I'm being told that I'm not, well, now what? What's the solution? Is it the Samson option? Do we all just get nuked to hell? It's so if nothing else, I have a lot of questions. And those questions don't seem to have answers. And so, am I the crazy guy here? Am I the insane one for asking these questions? Am I fucking insane for noticing? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think, because I don't know, man, so much of this seems wrong. Feels wrong. You look at photos and you look at videos from the 80s, from the 70s, from the 60s. And it's just like, wow, look at this. Look at how peaceful. And look at how loving and just prosperous all of this is. All these videos. Look at photos of like the 40s and the 30s, and just everything before the 2000s, before America just became this, I don't know, just over immigrated country. Look at videos of London right now. Look at videos of the Middle East. Look at the statistics. The Middle East before Russia invaded. Hell, even the Middle East, even Afghanistan was like a second/first world country. And so it's just like, what has happened to the world? And have we been lied to? Have we been lied to about everything? Because when you start looking back, just not even that long, everything looks so much better than what we have now. the third world just being fucking shoved into our countries. It's like, do we even have first world countries anymore? Is there first world countries anymore? Because, you know, I look back just a couple of years, and it's just like everything looks astronomically better than it is now. So I guess my question is, you know, where do we go from here? My question is, you know, does this feel right to you? Does any of this seem right to you? Because it doesn't feel right to me, man. It doesn't. You know, and maybe I'm fucking crazy. Maybe I'm schizo. Maybe I'm the fucking nut job. But I'm going to keep asking questions. And I recommend that you also keep asking questions. And I also just realized that I don't think my camera's at the right angle. Now it's going to bug me the entire time editing this video. Fuck. All right, guys. I don't want to ramble too fucking long. I don't want to go, you know, too crazy with this. I already feel like this is probably the most schizo / insane that I've gone on YouTube, and it's, I don't know. It feels good to ask these questions out loud, but at the same time, it's just, you know, it's so insane. It's so wild that we even have to ask all this. It's so nutty that all of this is even happening. And how many people to your left and right, how many NPCs, non-playable characters, you know, are just still pretending like it's not happening. I'd say overall, it seems like a lot of people are starting to acknowledge the problems. A lot of people are acknowledging and understanding that things are happening and things are wrong and things don't feel right. But it's still fascinating how many people are just, I don't know, refusing to believe that anything's bad, anything's wrong, anything doesn't feel right. And like, hometown is being flooded with third world illegals. You know, in our hometowns, we're foreigners now. Our names are spat and cursed. The headline smack of another attack, not the last and not the worst. Oh, my fathers, they look down on me. I wonder how they feel to see their noble sons driven down beneath a coward's heel. Oh, by God, we'll have our home again. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap this up here. We're already at 20 minutes. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate your follow. As you guys may or may well not be aware of, I do sell military surplus. I'm actually selling sandbags now, too. Yes, I realize taxes are gay, and I have to pay taxes, and you have to pay taxes to buy stuff from me, and then I have to pay taxes. I have to pay taxes buying stuff, and then I have to pay taxes selling you stuff, and you have to pay taxes me selling you stuff, and then I have to pay taxes holding the stuff, and then I have to pay taxes on your sale, and then I have to pay taxes again for my employees, and then I have to pay taxes again at the end of it. I pay a lot of fucking taxes, but nonetheless, I'm not going to give up. I refuse to give up. We're going to go forward. I don't know what the end goal is. I don't know what the end result is going to be. All I know is that I'm not going to give up and say hi to George. What's up, Haas? How you be? Look at this. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. What a fella. What a fella. All right, guys. Appreciate the hell out of you. Appreciate your time. And my repaired Barrett should be here any moment now. And I'm excited. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good weekend. End of the day, everything's said and done. You know, never black pill. Don't go down the doomer route. There's always hope. I refuse to give up. I have a lot of questions. You know, I have a lot of concerns. But I will not give up. I will not surrender. And we're going to fucking make it. If you're strong. Peace.
So, I did in fact get my Barrett back. And she works, and the trigger is all worky. If you guys didn't see that update. This used to be a competition gun, and I bought it used. And it was beat to fuck. I had to have it sent in and have some repairs done. Anyway, We got this optic in while Barrett was in the shop from NC Scout, and realized that the scope rings were a different size, so had to order that, and now she's scopeless. I don't know why I felt like giving you guys an update, so here you are. I'm gonna have to, oh man, we're rocking irons now, boys. Okay, bye for real.